correct me if I'm wrong, if it's up in the cloud, anybody can tap into it and get your information. Now, is that correct?
That is correct. And that's the other part that a lot of people are up in arms about it.
Mhm.
So, you know, the scary part about that is like this lady was tracking her husband's ex-wife, but because it logs it, but listen to this, because it logs it. This is where people get kooky, because it logs it. She was trying to tag her going in there to investigations that were going around the area where the lady was driving. Can you imagine she could get charged with a crime just because this other psycho with this kind of search?
So we have a doozy today, so to speak. Good morning. It is Tuesday morning, 9:00 every week. I say hello to my good friend, Diamond Boy Lewis. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Al, how are you feeling, man?
Very, very good. So today we're going to get into this podcast of two guys. I'm just saying it. By the way, off the top, just subscribe, like. It's on all major platforms, and please tell other people about it too as we start to grow. Thanks to you all over the world, whether you listen to it or you watch it. And today we would love to know for sure your opinion. I know you were just talking to me about this morning. So I noticed these cameras, but I didn't know what they were in my travels. They're called flock cameras. You take it because you really know more about this.
So I got to tell you, flock cameras have a great intent. A lot of people a little bit up in arms of what's going on with them. But the flock cameras, basically, they're tag readers for cars, right? So when you pass by one of these cameras, from my understanding and for asking a couple of officials, what the cameras are supposed to do is read the tag, let the officers know, hey, you know, it's an unregistered car, their tag expired, they might have a warrant. So it has a lot of benefits. But people are starting to get concerned about these cameras.
Why?
Well, a lot of them think it's overreach. Unfortunately, there's been some issues already with the use of these cameras because so what it does is it creates like a thumbprint of your vehicle. So it could identify every little nick and cranny in your vehicle. So your vehicle will, you know, from here, let's say you go to the gym every morning. So there will be 5-6 cameras. So all those cameras will tag your vehicle as soon as you come by every day. So it creates kind of like a routine. So if you ever get in an accident, if you ever anything happens, they don't even need the tag of the car. Let's say you have a red pickup with a dented left corner broken light, and they could narrow down so much that now they don't need tags of vehicles. And they could do that search in a specific area, which is great for Amber Alert, you know, any type of a kidnapping or you know, any type of crime or violent crime. So that part is great. The part that people are getting a little bit up in arms is that they're starting to use the tracking system. It's getting misused. So there's two things.
In what way?
So there's been instances already where police officers have been caught using the system for their personal use. There was a police officer that got caught tracking his ex-girlfriend over and her new boyfriend over 100 times.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So there obviously is a privacy issue with the positive side of what they're supposed to be. But I have a question because you know a little bit more about this, but I come from the world of common sense. That's how I look at everything. And we've all been subject to breaking common sense once, twice, but when the stupidity continues to ring in, that I quite don't get. So the whole point about this is, where is the footage going? Because I read an article that it's just going up into a cloud. So it's not going to a precinct. So correct me if I'm wrong. If it's up in a cloud, anybody can tap into it and get your information. Now, is that correct?
That is correct. And that's the other part that a lot of people are up in arms about it. So a lot of these cities don't have the budgets to have their own centralized data location. So they're just putting it up to the cloud.
On the cloud.
Yes. Wow. And unfortunately, what happens is because flock cameras are open source, a lot of people are hacking these cameras. Now, the dangerous part about it, and what a lot of advocate groups are bringing up is any child predator, any rapist could hack these cameras and use it as a tracking device for a victim. And that's where it becomes very dangerous because it's open source. There's no type of security on these cameras.
So you sent me an investigative reporter that's really doing this whole thing in just a few seconds. Let's show everyone.
Have Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system? That is a flock safety camera. It's an artificial intelligence automated license plate reader. I've reported on Flock before, and if there's one thing people in the comments can agree on, it's their hatred of this. That's because at least 90,000 Flock cameras across 6,000 communities read over 20 billion plates per month. All that information then gets uploaded into a giant shared database, which can be accessed by law enforcement and government agencies. And no surprise, this raises a slew of issues. Like one Ohio man pulled over accused of stolen plates, attacked by police dogs, and jailed because Flock read the 7 on his plates as a 2.
There you go. So that's the information. Wow. To misread a license plate and the wrong person got arrested. I would think automatically that's wide open for a lawsuit that you misread something. Probably the other thing, I don't care. There is no cloud that is 100% secure for sure. We just saw a couple of days ago that the people that build these AI agents, that you can go on and make it do whatever you want to do to help your business. One of those agents went rogue and went into a major company and found all kinds of information. So I understand why they're doing it, but the negative side of it is, number one, for privacy. But the other thing is now you're saying that it's being misused. And go back to this one little thing that you mentioned. Here's another thing I don't get. So the woman you were with or the guy you were with is no longer with you. You are no longer with them. Why are you stalking them on this camera? If they wanted to be with you, they would be with you.
Exactly.
If you wanted to be with them, you would be with them. So the stalking thing now, it starts to get a little creepy. And it starts to get dangerous for the person that you're now with, who's totally innocent.
Yeah,
that's just wow.
The great thing about the Flock program is whoever logs into it from any police precinct, any law enforcement. So it makes a log, right? So it'll log in and at what time and what you were looking at and what you were tracking. So it creates this whole log that it can't be deleted. And that's how these officers and law enforcement are getting caught using this for their personal use. And then on the other side, there's been some issues because they use AI cameras. So this gentleman and his wife came down to Florida for vacation, and they were at their Airbnb, and this police officer just went and knocked on the door, this and that, and he had an AI description. And it was supposed to be a child predator. And this officer just went in there 100% sure, arrested the man. And
here we go.
And the camera had located the incorrect door. So the guy kind of looked. Actually, they were off by like 20 years because there was a 20-year gap in age difference. But
that's not too far, is it?
No,
20 years.
But the description was kind of like what the guy looked like a little bit, but there was a 20-year age gap, but the door was incorrect. And the officer came in like he was 100% sure. And And after they arrested the guy and all that stuff, and they were going through all the information, they noticed they got the wrong gentleman. But it was already too late. So
now
I don't think he'll be vacationing in Florida.
No, I don't think he's coming back to the state unless they give him, try and make up a freebie. We'll pay for everything. And, that might work. You also were telling me just before we went on that has there been a pushback, not only from the public, has there been anywhere in this country that the police department did say, okay, no, we're done with this?
Yes.
Do you know that has happened?
Yes. So there's been some communities that after listening to the public, seeing how vulnerable the system is because it's an open source system, they have shut it down. This latest issue with this sheriff lady that just got arrested, now the town is going to shut down the system because it's open to anybody. And now they saw it, it misfire from the inside. So if they can't control their own people that have direct access to this, imagine anybody from the outside that could just hack into it.
Here's the point right now. If you're listening to this podcast anywhere, or some of you might be watching it on YouTube, give us your thoughts. Is this okay with you to do? Does it go against what you believe in for privacy? Jot us a note. Let us know where you're listening to the show from or watching it. And just leave a comment as to, I'm going to guess, I'm going to go on the limb, and my guess is going to be most people are going to say, I don't like it. However, I understand the positive side of it.
Correct.
But the negative side, as you're explaining this to me today, there's too many negatives involved where you're tracking people that you shouldn't be tracking. I just think that, and I'm not going to sway our viewers or listeners either way. But we would like to know, just jot us a quick one, yay or nay. And if you've had any experience with this, but I think there's a little bit to me, it gets a little creepy that you're being watched everywhere. And, that's just my own personal take on it. As I said, I do know the positive side of it is, there's some whacked out people out there. But they'd be interesting to read the comments from the viewers, and the listeners wherever you are. And if you do have it in your area. So how many of these, Louis, do they have a figure of how many of these cameras are all over the country?
Right now, they're saying there's close to 100,000 cameras throughout the country. So,
wow.
It is now. But on your side, and you and I are kind of on the same page on the privacy situation, but I don't know, for security purposes, for the crime situation, that part I really do understand. It's just, do you think, and because there's only been a few of these instances, I don't know, probably like 5 of these sheriffs and some news that have come out. Do you think these bad news are outweighing the good that these cameras could do?
Well, my honest answer is those are the ones that got caught. We don't know how many are doing it that have not been caught yet. And that number cannot be 0. We both know that. So now that's an open-ended number where that's just a whatever X amount that, we nailed you, here's the proof. Because people think they can always get away with everything until they get caught. Correct. So do they send the message to the people that are doing it that have not been caught yet? And out of that, how many people go, you know what, I think I'm going to stop doing this? And then there's another part of them that said, let's just keep going. We're not going to get caught because everybody is, no, it's never going to happen to me. It's going to happen to somebody else. So I would probably think this is just scratching the surface as to something being done with that footage. That's not what it's intended to do. I think, I don't know if this thing is going to have legs forever, because from what you were telling me, and then I did do a little research online, there are a lot of people that are up in arms about it, that it's everywhere you go. So I think this is only the beginning of the pushback.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep gaining momentum, and either it has to get better to make sure that anyone can't hack into it, and there's got to be more security measures in place, and make sure that the police department's not using it just for like these guys. They're tracking their ex girlfriend, the new boyfriend, the ex-wife. I mean, the scary part about that is like this lady was tracking her husband's ex-wife, but because it logs it, but listen to this, because it logs it. This is where people get kooky, because it logs it. She was trying to tag her going in there to investigations that were going around the area where the lady was driving. Can you imagine she could get charged with a crime just because this other psycho It's scary, man. It's scary.
Yeah, we're laughing about this, and there will be people that'll say, well, that's not funny. But my take on things, when you get past the absurd line, this is the way I look at life. There's an absurd line.
Correct.
When you go past that, that begins to be laughable, that somebody would risk their livelihood, what they're about, how people look at them for the rest of their lives.
True.
To risk about, and there are other reasons why, but why would you want to, again, one of the things, why would you want to track your ex? For what reason?
I think the thing with the flock cameras, and I was watching an interview with the CEO of the flock camera company. It was intended, or is still intended, just as an extra tool for law enforcement. I think it's getting out of control.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the reporter asks the CEO, do you have an apology for this, for the public on how the system is being used? And he said, no. He's like, the system was created to do one job. I can't apologize for the actions of people doing bad things with it. And I kind of got to say,
okay.
To a certain extent, he has a little bit of truth to that. But
true.
What scared me about that statement is like, all right, well, here you go. I wash my hands. Just pay me. I'm out.
Yeah. I made a lot of money.
Where's the responsibility?
Yeah. And what you do with it is not my business anymore. I made my money. You signed off on this. Goodbye. And I get that, because like you said, technically, I made a product. This is what it's supposed to do. Above and beyond that is not in my control. I understand that, but you got to know going in, if you're setting it up, that there is a possibility, not a definite, but there is a possibility that anybody could tap into it. Do you bear some of that responsibility? I
think they do. I mean, to create a product that's, first of all, it's a product meant for law enforcement, right?
Correct.
But you made it vulnerable that anybody can hack into it. So you're giving them a tool that's, that's like me creating a gun for law enforcement that has 6 bullets, but only 3 of them work. That's how I see it. Yeah. So if you're there in a shootout, they're only going to, they're only counting because anybody could block the other 3. So I don't know. It's kind of like, all right, you made a tool that it works, but it's not protected for them. So I don't know. It's I think they need a little bit of responsibility on this.
This is an interesting episode on 2 Guys. I'm just saying it. What we do is we add, end it every week for 2 reasons. If you enjoy a cigar from time to time, or someone that does, Lewis has a great website called His and Her Cigars. He and his wife, Carmen, own it, and they're wonderful at what they do. And please take a look at my website, if you would. My voiceovers, my acting reel, albandiro.com. A lot of stuff that I do in my career is on there, so take a look at it. And, you can always order. Lewis also carries that. He hand rolls. Well, truth be told, his wife is a better roller than he is. Don't hold that against me, but it's true. They make and they will hand roll you cigars. A great gift for someone. Check that out. But please let us know about these flock cameras, if you know anything about it, or maybe you're just coming into this. Like I said, when Lewis came to me with it, I said, what is that? And then I realized what they were when I went, oh yeah, I've seen it here and I've seen it there. So, let us know and get back to us and let us know your thoughts on these flock cameras.